Alright, what do we got up on the roster next for this month? Ooh, Disney? How fun! Who wants to talk about creepy theories and immoral practices, all in the name of consumerism masquerading as
Good family entertainment.
Oh, wait, we're talking about Mickey's House of Villains? Okay, fine. Mickey's House of Villains is a 2002 direct-to-video movie produced by Walt Disney Television Animation and based off of their hit TV show Mickey's House of Mouse, which involves all of the Disney characters meeting up at Mickey's little nightclub to listen to his stand-up routine, watch shorts and clips, and get into little situations of their own. This one in particular involves all of the classic Disney villains planning a coup to take over the House of Mouse. I do remember fond memories of this movie as a kid, but how does it hold up now? Well, grab your Mickey Mouse ears and your popcorn and let's take a look for ourselves. The movie opens up to everyone entering the House of Mouse for some Halloween festivities, with, of course, Jafar being extra as always, and we get introduced to our A and B plots. Donald Duck feels insecure that Daisy and Goofy don't seem to think his costume is scary, and decides that he wants to try to scare someone. Seriously, Daisy, you couldn't humor him for just 5 seconds.
You scare everybody? Donald, on the scare-o-meter, you're barely a squeal.
And for the main story, a lot of villains have congregated at the House of Mouse, and while Mickey is unassuming, the villains seem sick and tired of everything not being villainy enough, so Jafar reveals that he has his own plan, but everyone has to wait until midnight for it to be put into place. So everyone put a pin in that, we'll have to wait and see. But for right now, we're not going to progress too much into the main story. It's mostly just the same House of Mouse shtick of getting some bits of sitcom from Mickey, and some interactions from the audience. So we'll just talk about each of the shorts until we get some major developments. The first short we get is the classic Trick or Treat, which involves a witch named Hazel helping Huey, Dewey, and Louie get revenge on Donald Duck for playing a prank on them during Halloween instead of giving them candy, especially since he ends up being a bit rude to the witch. This is a cute classic short, and we do get a catchy song in it.
Trick or treat, trick or treat, trick or treat for Halloween.
Though, Hazel, was it really necessary to provoke the duck further? You should know he's a stubborn bird.
Kids, this pigeon's a pushover.
Though I guess Donald isn't the brightest candle on the cake, neither for messing with Hazel or for trying to scare the beast.
Oh boy, someone in a scare.
Next up we get Mickey's Mechanical House. This involves Mickey deciding to leave his older house in search for a newer one, but ends up regretting his decision when the smart technology of the newer house ends up causing more trouble than convenience. I will say, Mickey, this sounds like a you problem. If you had enough money to buy a brand new smart tech house, then you have plenty of money to fix your current house. But while this short isn't necessarily Halloween themed, it is still a charming little short. We get a nice narration from John Cleese entirely in rhyme, and it has a really interesting art style, and perhaps a bit of a warning for smart houses. Next up is How to Haunt a House, in which Goofy straight up dies. Well, only temporarily, so that he could demonstrate to ghosts how to properly haunt a house, in which his hauntee is Donald Duck. I think one of my favorite bits is how Goofy slowly gets more and more fed up, as he has to up his antics while Donald just doesn't even seem to notice or care for most of the short. Alright, let's see. Is Jafar putting his plan into place yet? No? Alright then, let's get into the next short. Lonesome Ghosts is the oldest short in this lineup, being all the way from back in 1937. In this one, ghosts decide to prank Mickey, Donald, and Goofy, who are ghost hunters in this short, and call them to the mansion that they haunt in order to scare the daylights out of them. I think one of my favorite parts of this short is how not only did these guys think that an axe and a shotgun would help them fight ghosts, but then Mickey and Donald were fully ready to throw hands with ghosts. This one is also a classic short with some good gags. It's not necessarily my favorite of the lineup, but it's still pretty good. I do have to say though, as a kid I had a really hard time understanding the ghosts and Donald sometimes, and
We don't have no fun no more.
that really hasn't changed much as an adult. I still don't know what they're saying sometimes. Alright, well Jafar's plan is still cooking I guess, so we gotta watch the next short.
Hit it, Horace.
Who the hell is Horace? Next up we got Dance with the Goofies, which is a short without any dialogue and features Goofy as a bunch of tiny fairies that make flowers go to sleep at night. And one of these Goofy fairies has to save the Goofy fairy leader from the version of Sid that tortures insects instead of toys. And I'm honestly surprised that this mini Goofy species isn't extinct with how many of them get killed in the first 30 seconds of the short. I think even as a kid this one wasn't my favorite in the short lineup. The music is good, it's got good animation, and there's some funny moments, but I don't like it as much as some of the other shorts. Plus, at this point, we're about 40 minutes in, and the whole House of Villains thing hasn't even happened yet. Where are we at with that, Jafar?
Patience, Iago. Midnight nears.
Fine. We got one more short. Next up is Donald Duck and the Gorilla, in which a killer gorilla named Ajax escapes the city zoo and barges into Donald's house, where Huey, Dewey, and Louie are also staying. The short has some awesome slapstick from Donald and the gorilla, and the animation as the gorilla chases Donald across the house is really impressive. This one is a pretty good short, so at least we end on a banger as we finally get to the main event. Mickey calls for a change of face, and that's when the villains cut the power, and Jafar starts the coup to throw Mickey out of his own clubhouse, and we get a banger song for it too.
Raise your mud to thieves and thugs. Join the rabble, rousing round. It's our house now.
Mickey does try to get his club back immediately after, but, well... Alright, Jafar, you got the club to yourself. What's the plan now? Oh, show another short? About Mickey, Donald, and Goofy? Okay, fine. We have Donald's Halloween scare up next. In this, Huey, Dewey, and Louie are going trick-or-treating when Donald decides to scare them so bad that they abandon their bags of candy. And of course, he swipes them up and the boys get mad and decide to get their revenge on him. We do get some creepy imagery in this one, though of course not too intense. It is a Donald Duck short after all. Though this one was one of my favorites as a kid. I love that it got a bit creepier and was absolutely dripping in Halloween atmosphere. I do have to say though, rewatching this, it drove me crazy that Louie's costume was ripped at the beginning of the short, and it kept going back and forth between being broken and being fixed. Consistency, people, consistency. Alright, Minnie's gonna try to throw out Jafar next. Well, it goes about as well as you'd expect. Okay, come on Jafar, what's the plan next? Another Mickey Mouse short? Okay, so you've waited until midnight to take over the House of Mouse because you were not satisfied that it wasn't evil enough, and then when you're in charge, you did the same thing that Mickey was doing? And play only 2 shorts? I mean, granted the last 2 shorts are a bit darker, but come on. That'd be like if I took over this channel and decided to upload a Muffet Spooks video in December. But anyway, let's get into the last short, Hansel and Gretel, in which Mickey and Minnie reenact, well, Hansel and Gretel, and it's animated to the song Danse Macabre. She said the thing! Alright, I can't be the only one as a kid that thought the desserts at the beginning of the short looked so freaking delicious. Honestly, watching this did make me in the mood for some pudding, but I do have to give this short a lot of props for the creative imagery, especially when the candy in the house starts to turn against them. I love the candy cane snakes and the cookie moths. We even get some really intense and creative visuals in the oven when Mickey and Minnie are temporarily pulled in. It almost looks like hell itself with how they animated it. This one is a really good short. Alright, let's get to the final showdown between... Huh? Oh, you think I should rank the shorts? Alright, fair enough. From favorite to least favorite, I would say Hansel and Gretel for its creative visuals, Donald Duck and the Gorilla for its amazing slapstick, How to Haunt a House for its humor and gags, Trick or Treat for the classic charm, Mickey's Mechanical House for its unique art style and backdrops, even though it's not really Halloween themed, but I'll let it slide. Donald's Halloween Scare for its perfect Halloween atmosphere, Lonesome Ghosts, while it did have some good gags and animation, I don't like it as much as the other shorts, and then Dance of the Goofies. Not that it's necessarily bad, but it never really was one of my favorites compared to the other shorts. I probably wouldn't even miss it if it was cut out from this. Okay, so we got, really, just a couple minutes left on the clock? Alright then. Well, Mickey's going to put on his sorcerer hat and try to kick Jafar's butt. This works out for about 30 seconds as they hit fireballs between each other, but then Jafar knocks Mickey's hat off with a bunt. Well, Mickey, don't go into a career of baseball, I guess. But luckily, Aladdin the Deus Ex Machina shows up with the lamp, which allows Mickey to slurp Jafar up into the lamp. It's not even Jafar's lamp, but alright. And of course, Donald didn't even get his wish of wanting to be scary, since Goofy beat him to the Jafar costume. Alright, so Mickey's House of Villains, what to say about it? So we do get some great shorts in here, it's a good premise, and we do get a banger song. Younger Disney audiences are going to love this one, especially if they love Halloween and all the Disney movies. Now, I might be wrong since I haven't really seen a ton of House of Mouse, but I feel like for older audiences, this kind of lacks the House of Mouse charm. A lot of the charm of it was seeing characters from different movies interacting, which we actually don't get a ton of in this one between the shorts. It would have been nice to maybe see villains interacting with each other, maybe trying to put Jafar's plan into place. They could have even pulled some comedic scenes of them trying to sneak around Mickey and the gang trying to set up the takeover, and we hardly got to see the villains during the takeover of the House of Mouse. Not to mention that the final confrontation was over in literally 2 minutes. I know it's direct-to-video, they can't do anything super crazy, but the resolution was super quick. But I'm not gonna call this a bad movie either. It's still a nostalgic watch, good for kids and newer generations, and it has good things about it too. It's just not a perfect film and doesn't really live up to the premise that it sets up. But don't worry, Jafar's takeover of the House of Mouse might be over, but my takeover of the channel isn't, so stay tuned for more Halloween festivities coming up this month.